Robert's quiet here now, but the guys are back. We're all glad to see them back in that. It's stage one at this stage, but tell us a little bit about all that's had to go through and the hoops that the players. You've said it's a safest environment probably from your home, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, without doubt. I mean, it's quiet here now, but the truth is, it's quite quiet when the players are here because they come in very limited numbers. They cycle through in groups of 5. You never see any more guys out there on the pitch here, more than 5 or 6. And if there's 5 or 6 on here, there's 5 or 6 on our other training field. Where we're lucky is we can actually run a loop through the stadium where 5 guys can come into the gym. We've got loads of room in the gym, and they can cycle out then onto this pitch and do some work here, then cycle up another pitch, and we can actually rotate through really well without the guys coming anywhere near each other. So we're incredibly fortunate with the facilities we've got here. We've got absolutely fantastic medical staff. I mean, with Adrian Harris leading up as our kind of COVID medical lead, he's running 2 hospitals around, running exactly these kind of protocols. So he's been doing this for months. And for him to be able to establish those kind of things here is obviously fantastic for us. Our other staff have worked fantastically hard here on making sure that we have everything completely pinned off. We make our players feel comfortable, we make them feel safe. And as I said before it started, it's probably the safest environment other than sitting in their houses they're going to be involved in, because obviously the checking and the cleanliness that's available, the distancing that's available is second to none really. I mean, we like to think we've got it bang on. I think we've probably exceeded what we really need to have in place, and it's just great to see some smiles on faces and the guys running around in the sun, and getting some, what I think the important thing is monitored fitness work, because I think that's the important thing. They've got GPSs in and now and heart rate monitors, and that's what really allows us to assess where they are and how much harder we can push them and what they can achieve kind of loading wise. We're very aware that we can't, there's no coaching involved at the moment, and as I said earlier on, the hardest thing is keeping coaches away, because everybody wants to get back to rugby. But those things are steps that'll be there in the future, and looking at the way the country's moving, and you'd like to think some of those positive steps will happen relatively quickly. And I think we're all just really, really looking forward to getting to stage 2 when we can, which is more proper rugby training, which will allow an element of coaching as well, which will be great for everybody. And then obviously what we're really looking forward to is seeing some spectators here in Sandy Park and feeling some atmosphere and getting back to rugby.
Is there a buzz that you can feel amongst the guys, just seeing them out there chatting?
There's 2 things. There's a buzz and there's an excitement that they're back in training, and there's a frustration as well that we're holding them back from doing certain things. But that's the way we've got to monitor things at the moment. There's a lot of frustration through the country. I think everyone's aware of that, about things you can and can't do. We've got to make sure we get on the right side of that as well, and we make sure we don't step out of what we're supposed to do. And we're driving that message constantly. The players are being very, very good so far. We're seeing some very good results on our heart rates and on our GPS, which we're really pleased with. And what we've got to make sure is we just get the right balance in our training of what the things we need to do on our movement patterns and our distancing to get them as close as we can before we, as I say, we move to that stage 2 training, which will allow some elements of contact, set piece, etc., which will be getting us ready for rugby.
As you say, when rugby does come back, it could be a real 9-week shootout then, isn't it?
Oh, it's going to be fantastic, and what a challenge. We're going to turn up. At the first day we go to stage 2 training. When we go move to stage 2 training, the reality is we're probably going to know that games are going to happen, because I think when you actually look at how the country's progressing through things, you can see those steps coming, and it's a bit like the 2 metres to 1 metre. You can feel steps coming that will allow more things to happen. So stage 2 will genuinely mean the country's ready to probably get back to sport. 1 metre distancing probably means the country's getting back ready to socialising to a degree, and so all these things will happen, and they'll create that feeling of us starting to get ready and kind of licking our lips at a 9-week shootout to get to a semi-final. What more could you want as a player? It's a little bit like what a new opportunity, what a new challenge, what's something different for the years you've had in the Premiership, where with the length of the season now, all of a sudden, on week 1 you got to be on your game, and actually by about the time you get match fit, you're probably going to be in a semi-final. It's going to be really interesting. It's going to be a really exciting tournament, I think, and interestingly one that I think could attract an awful lot of interest.
We put out some pictures last week of the boys back in training, videos and everything, and it went mad. There's a real buzz amongst the supporters. How much have you missed just sport and rugby particularly? These
it's a funny thing, probably like a lot of people, because initially when when you look at it, because we've had some good seasons recently, so we've been towards finals, you have such a limited time before the next season starts. You put that 5 week kind of compulsory break in, and then you're back in training for like 2 months, and then you're playing again. So actually, there was a little period where, oh, this isn't too bad. You know, we're not back in training next week for a few weeks, which felt quite nice. And then after a little while, you start going, well, we're not seeing any players, we're not seeing any crowds, we're not feeling the buzz, we're not getting anything out of it we need to be. You know, we're a rugby club for a reason. Rugby clubs are there for guys to come and play rugby. You know, we're a members club. What are we about? Well, we're for groups of lads to come and train and play rugby. That's what we're here for. That's what it's about. We're not here for any other reason, really. And so to finally allow some lads to be in here and running around and doing what they love, that's what starts to tick boxes. And the next box we've got to tick is seeing again rugby here.